Well, hey there, partners. Thanks for joining us out here again for another story time. I'm Marty O'Mell. You know me. We're going to check right in with Marshall Kevin because there's all kinds of crazy stuff going on down in paradise. Let's see what's going on this week.
Hello and welcome to Poisoned Paradise, a Deadlands adventure RPG run by me for these fine and wonderful folks. I'm just going to do them in the same order I see them every week. That way you guys know when to bow in case you forgot your names. Right next to me, we have playing Jet Noctum Sky. Next to that, we have playing Ellie Hannah. Wave, thank you. At the far end, we have Lessimax playing the fine and wonderful Lucius the Undertaker. And then in a row all to herself. Oh, let her primp for a second. Let her primp. Is Sarah playing Alice, the Southern.
You already know.
We know who the star of the show is now.
She's not on the same level as us because she doesn't want to be with the riffraff.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Ruffians, all of you.
Oh, they might dirty her hair.
Off the train with some of these ruffians in lower lives and has been forced to deal with it. On the bright side, she got to meet a Russian princess. So,
Yep.
all kind of worked out in the end.
Yay.
Speaking of Russian princesses, let's do a quick recap of last week. Started off outside a cave of a zombie spider. Which had you guys somewhat afeared until you went inside and blew it away in about 3 seconds. Parts everywhere, guts everywhere, got a little bit of stuff out of it. You, in the process, saved the career of Agent Laura, who hired you guys, basically gave you her entire per diem for the entire adventure for killing this thing and covering her and making her look professional, even though she's only been on the job for 3 months. She went back to the agency to tell them how wonderful you were. So you've probably got a pretty good connection there, which is a nice place to start. And $1,000 was given to you as a reward, 2 of you for various reasons refusing your section of it. And finally, after 3 sessions, you finally made it to Paradise, the town that this is named after. You met some of the locals. Every single person you talked to said this town is weird, it's full of strange people, even though most of the people you talked to seem pretty normal. You saw probably the main feature in this little town is the railway to nowhere. It just goes straight up this hill. It's called Milton's Folly. And you not only found that out, but you were actually hired by one of Milton's nephews, Alan Campbell, to guard him and some prospectors to go up this. They were walking up because no train in the world could possibly make it up this track. It's far too steep. But to walk up to the top of this track and to assay the value of this ghost mine, a ghost rock mine at the top that could be worth hundreds of thousands if it's as good as the assay work said it was. You guys got up there and discovered, first of all, not a mine so much as a dead body. Trussed up on a large wooden X at the end of the top of this railway, throat cut, and a number of bite marks taken out of it by what appeared to be wolves. You also found a trail. Well, one of the prospectors found a little trail through the trees, and following it found some place where somebody had chipped a hole in the wall looking for a ghost rock and had apparently, according to the prospectors, found some. While you were waiting for him to finish that, you looked around, and I don't remember who it was, but at least one of you saw a bloodstain on the ground in the shape of kind of a rounded Y. And the last thing we heard was one of the prospectors say, "Oh shit, Baphomet." So with that, everybody draw 3 chips for this week.
Yay.
Put them on your sheets. I know most of you have spent mightily over the last week or two. You've improved your stats considerably. So yeah, draw those 3. Let me know when you've got them on your sheets and I'll pull them all back.
I'm all done.
So we don't clutter.
Go.
Oh, no,
And just as a quick reminder, you can use... Sorry?
Lucius 3 years in the way. I can't click it.
Oh, sorry.
I think you can zoom out on the top right.
Yeah, if you use that zoom bar, you can take it so that it's not over top of something.
That better?
No, because your name doesn't move.
Oh,
3, 2,
okay. Happened.
Ellie.
I really, with this,
There you go.
I really feel like I'm
Thank you.
in the freaking West.
I love the soundtrack.
It's amazing.
It's almost just like we were blessed by some higher up beings.
It is almost like that.
This track isn't actually from that soundtrack.
Oof.
Doesn't know.
That's why I was being very quiet. However, I will mention that they have been absolutely wonderful and kind enough to allow us to use their art and have sent us some music as well. So thank you to Pinnacle. Appreciate it. And with that,
Anything Old West flavored is.
everybody got your chips written onto your sheet?
Yep.
I reckon I do.
Captain.
Excellent. And with that, we will go down the rabbit hole and back to Poisoned Paradise. So you guys are in the trees, gathered at the face of this rock wall. There's this small triangular hole in the wall that's got a little bit of whitish, gray, sparkly mineral in it that you take to be the ghost rock ore. But somehow that doesn't seem particularly important, because on the rock in front of it, there's this bent Y. You look at the two prospectors and they are just pasty white. Terrified.
So
What do we know?
yeah, what do I know about this thing that's got them?
You guys can give me an occult knowledge check if you've got that, or anything else you can convince me might be useful.
I have a knowledge occult. Let me see.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that's a thing.
Everything is a thing.
It's under academia. You would have to add it to the skills. So
If I don't, would I just do it?
you roll 1, whatever your knowledge dice is, and subtract 4.
But to subtract 4, I do have knowledge in occult.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so you don't subtract anything. So
Okay.
I got a 3.
Oh, me too.
there's another 3. You guys equally know next to nothing. Ellie?
I'm still shaking over what we saw earlier, so I'm probably not going to roll because I'm not really.
started backing away like, oh shit,
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm not
perfect.
looking
I
at
love it. Thank you for role playing that. So this makes sense. The Undertaker knows the most about this particular beast. It is purported to be a true devil of magical origin. It is portrayed generally as the typical big muscle-bound demon form, red skin, big horns, smoke coming out of the nose, sort of bullish face, and known as Evil Incarnate. You share this with the group?
Absolutely. It's like that's not a good sign at all.
No.
Alan looks at Alice and says, poppycock and nonsense, of course.
Yeah, it certainly does sound like that.
People worship all sorts of things.
There's got to be some sort of logical explanation behind this.
Well, fools will worship anything. Imagine it's probably someone making a lot of money off of this.
Oh, I'm sure there is. Ugh.
And he turns to the rest of you. I'm sorry, some of you look like you believe.
Well, karma. Have you heard of that?
I heard, yes. Seen? No.
Well, she's not too kind. Anything magical, if you stick your nose at it, something's going to be looking or watching you if you're not careful.
Well, I'll certainly be watching you, because if you start trying to pretend to do magic, you're going to look rather foolish, aren't you?
Cute.
You have a wand. Do you wave it about?
Not yet.
Well, you two. And he looks at the prospectors. This is not what I hired you to do. Back into the main clearing, please. There's a much larger vein than this. And the three of them walk off.
What an asshole.
They walk to the.
Back down the trail to the clearing at the top of the end of the line.
Wait, is that where the body was?
Yeah.
And it's still there. You guys didn't take it down or any such thing. So
No.
it's still tied to this X. It's two railway ties crossed together, and then he's tied on that. So the four of you are alone at this rock face.
Yeah. Can I take the body down and just cover it in the sheet?
Well, you'd have to go back to the clearing, but certainly you can make your way back there. Yeah.
On the way back. But I'm just gonna excuse myself and do that for a moment.
Okay. So you go back with the two of them, which makes sense because he hired you to protect them. So one of you at least should go with them.
Yeah, right.
So you make your way back and start cutting down the body. Absolutely.
Just
So the
in a
three of you?
respectful manner.
Yep. Absolutely. Doing the appropriate things.
So, is that all that's up here? Is just the rock and the like? There was like a triangle like cut out or something like
Yeah,
that.
it's an assay hole. They find a place on the surface that looks like it shows ghost rock and dig in to see whether
Yeah.
it's a vein or just a little bit on the surface. You were assured by the prospectors that this looks like a small vein that goes into the side. But you were told by Alan Campbell, and the rumors around town are that there's a much larger vein on the big rock at the end of the railway. Because the railway comes up, it's kind of flat, and then it's kind of a cliff on three sides of it.
Okay.
And you found on one, I'll do it this way so you can see. On one side, you saw where the little hole was, but it's back here that the big mine is supposed to be.
Okay. Alice is clearly she's just gonna look at, she's gonna look at Jet and Ellie, the two little rambunctious ones. And and kind of like, So what is the plan?
All I know is I'm not going back up there until Lucius takes that body down. I can't look at it again.
Did he already take it down? I assumed we were all back in the clear.
By the time you guys got back, he's in the process, right?
Okay.
All right. So,
And I just put you guys back in the map so you got a better idea where you are.
Did I find anything on the body to identify it?
Give me a are you looking to okay, you want to know their name, or you want to know what killed them, or what is it you
Well,
want to
we kind of figured out what killed them. More like a name or just something, indication.
just give me a scrutinize.
Okay, scrutinize. Nope.
Yeah, you don't find anything on him. What you do notice is that he's wearing jeans because almost everybody would, because they're the toughest clothes in the world at this point in time. They're about like twice as thick as what jeans are now because they aren't fashion, they're work clothes, but really heavy denim.
Mhm.
And you can see in the back pocket there's a gray outline of where a wallet would be, but there's no wallet.
It's taken. No tattoos or like pendants.
Nope, no markings or identifiable features on him. He would, if you had to guess, you'd say he's not a townie.
Mhm.
He looks a little rough around the edges, even before they killed him.
Yeah.
Just the clothes that he's wearing is kind of, he looks like somebody who spends most of his time living outside of a town in the wilderness.
I see. Oh, maybe a hermit.
That's a lot of information for a 4. I must be feeling very nice today.
I wasn't gonna say anything.
While it lasts.
The persuasion to the gods seemed to work for temporarily.
So you get him cut down, and you said you covered him up.
Just a cloth, like
You have a winding sheet or something in your bag.
I think I would. Well, I would think I would have like some kind of just like a simple like cloth in there, like just like
There's like a shirt.
equipment. No, it's just more like just like a sheet, just like a bed sheet almost, but like it's more like equipment to like wrap the bodies in.
Okay. Put let's say they're they're not that bulky all rolled up. So say you had 4. So put 3 winding sheets on your character sheet.
Okay. So
You're yeah. I mean you're an undertaker. Why not?
Yeah, that makes sense.
You're not like you're going to be able to use them for much else. So yeah, you start wrapping the body like in the proper format, right? Not like a not
mhm.
like you're rolling a joint, but you flip both ends in and wrap it properly, the arms across and everything else, like you're supposed
Yeah.
And so yeah, you've finished that up. The rest of you are standing around. The Alan and the prospectors are over here in these trees up against a rock wall, and you hear one of the prospectors say, "Holy shit! There's an actual mine here."
All right, well, I'm going over there.
There's
Yeah,
your
see what
answer.
they're talking about.
So you guys, all 3 of you are heading over there. Yep.
I am, yeah.
And as you approach, you see the one prospector is kind of bent down and looking in with a lantern and shining it in. So it's a natural cave, but somebody's been in here with some explosives, made it bigger.
I'm
Looks
wondering
like
how recent.
30, 40 feet at least, but there's no bracing.
Yeah, I was about to ask that.
So I ain't going in there. That's not safe. But as he shines the light in, you can see these little reflections of sort of silvery white. He said, "Yeah, lots of ghost rock though.
Okay,
Lots of
so
ore.
that's okay.
That boy weren't shitting us. It's for real."
Seems like.
I don't know that we should go until it's been properly braced.
Yeah, it needs to be shored up for sure.
There's the proof, though.
Yep.
Sounds like a job done to me.
Did you get what you needed?
Yes, this will be more than sufficient to confirm the existence, and the should get the funding in place. Absolutely.
If I'm finished my preparations, I'll walk to the cave in the direction that they were at.
Absolutely. Let me just move you over there. Perfect.
And
as
oh, sorry.
Yep. Make a survival check for me, please, Lucius.
Survival. Okay.
Yep.
I was going to ask if I could make a geography check later.
Sure, you can try later. Yep. But for right now, I need that one.
Survival. Let's see. Survival.
I don't like this.
Oh, here it is. Okay.
So is it like how wide is this?
The opening?
Yeah,
The opening is only like 3-4 feet wide.
3, 4. Okay.
Lucius, as you finish wrapping the body, stand up, and just as you get across the clearing and you're almost about to step into the woods with these guys, you hear it crack behind you, a stick breaking as somebody steps on it.
Mm-hmm.
You turn around and there's a whole bunch of people standing there.
Of what? Sorry.
Hello.
There's a bunch of guys wearing they've come up the trail behind you guys. You were all very distracted, and they've come onto this clearing with you. They're dressed very similarly to the one that you just put to rest, so to speak. They've got that same tough outer gear on. In fact, these guys have got another piece of, it's like an extra vest you can see, and it looks like it's made out of like black ox hide or something. It doesn't like it's making them look extra bulky.
Let's see.
And there is one I will draw to your attention way down here, the orange one. He is carrying what can only be described as a flamethrower.
Oh, good.
Oh, all
Their
right.
pistols are all in sheath. The rifles are on their back. They haven't drawn any weaponry so far. But the guy with the flamethrower has just sort of got it hanging in his hand. He doesn't have a holster for it, right? Because there's a hose and a whole thing. At the very tip of it, you can see a tiny piece of white rock, and you can hear it. It's kind of squeals as it burns.
It's Ghost
And
Rock.
just a little bit of white smoke coming off of it. And this guy here, the one with the red dot, says, "Damn it, if you weren't right, claim jumpers. Y'all better not be digging."
I beg your pardon.
This here land's the rightful property of the bank in Paradise. Mr. Kerwin hired us to keep no goods like you off in it.
Well, I was unaware of that. We found a body, and I was just respectfully trying to take it down and bury it, that's all.
I see that, and I appreciate that. Where was it when you found it?
I point
at the bloodstain at the bottom of the.
Yeah, I point at the, what do you call it, a podium in a sense? Or
There's just an X of.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, you have
I gotta say, if he'd still been up there, this wouldn't have gone so nice.
Huh.
You seem like reasonable people. Why are you up here digging?
Mr. Allen can probably tell you. We were working for him.
Yes, it's the property of my uncle. He was Milton. I have documentation showing that it's mine. I don't know what you're talking about. And the bad guy looks at him and says, "Well, I'm afraid your document must be wrong, sir. The bank says they own it. So how about we all just go back down the mountain and go talk to the nice man at the bank?"
Sounds reasonable to me.
Yeah, and Alan's, yes, of course. I'm sure there's nothing wrong with my documentation. This will only be a slight delay, and besides, we've more or less accomplished what we set out for today, didn't we? And as you start to follow him down, these guys down the hill.
Yeah, could we could we do something about the body if you don't mind? I'd like to bury it still.
We'll take care of that. And he motions to a couple of the men, and they come and scoop it up and put it over their shoulders. We'll take it with us.
Thank you.
Is there a roll we can do about if we think he's lying?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Yeah, streetwise.
I don't know if it's just this gut feeling or if it's the fact that they're labeled outlaw.
Yeah,
Something tells.
Something seems a little funky.
I'm uncomfortable.
All three of you got one success. They are these are rough folks. These are hired guns. These are mercenaries, which is why they look like they look like. They don't appear to be actively angry with you, but this is a group of mercenaries.
In the bank.
Nice part with that is mercenaries generally don't break the rules unless they get paid to break the rules. So
Yeah, so the bank hired mercenaries. That seems...
yes, they did, ma'am, because there ain't nobody else going to protect this space. Sheriff and his deputy are all busy in town.
With that, Alice would look at Jet.
Yes.
Didn't you have a conversation with the sheriff?
I might have.
Are you just useless?
Ooh.
I got you up here, ma'am. That was my only job, getting y'all up here and getting you back down.
So, and the Alan still he's like down to just follow these guys, right?
He's not just following them. He's angry. He is storming down the hill.
Oh.
There's nothing wrong with my paperwork. Let's get this done. This is foolishness.
I must say, it does give me a bit of personal satisfaction seeing that Mr. High and Proper has some issues.
Same.
Yeah, I'd like to think I'm in the back walking, and I pass by Lucius, and I'm just like, karma. And I hold up a little fist.
Yeah, Alice is I guess I guess we're following, it seems like.
Not
Yeah.
really anywhere else to go.
Alice is thinking about what new purse she's gonna buy.
Yeah, and how you're going to clean the contents of this one, or whether you're just going to replace them.
Probably just gonna replace.
At that point.
Yeah.
Can I talk to the leader who we were speaking to?
Absolutely. He's sort of he's dropped back. The rest of them are sort of ahead of him. The guy with the flamethrower, you'll notice they're all kind of giving him a fairly large berth.
Me too.
Yeah. Not you realize it's not just because he's got a flamethrower. There's something in his eyes that isn't quite right.
I'm glad they gave him the flamethrower.
Well, you guys have been told
Well,
that exposure to ghost rock can make you mad, so
Yeah,
maybe he's
it's
holding the
poisoned.
flamethrower too long.
It's
Yeah.
poisoned.
Well, I'm just going to ask him.
Poison.
Did you know the man that we found up there?
Yeah, he's one of mine.
I'm very sorry for your loss. It's a horrible way to see a friend go.
Was he up here alone?
Y'all sure know how to rub salt in the wound, ma'am. I sent him up here to keep an eye on it so we could sleep in this morning because we had a bit of a drink last night. So we come up here to protect this place, and there he is all strung up. I'm just glad we didn't find him that way, and I'm real glad y'all didn't leave him that way.
No, of course not.
Goes against my very principles.
Y'all seem like nice folk. What are you doing? I don't recognize you. What are you doing here?
We're new in town. Our train derailed a few days back.
Well, that asshole's at it again, huh? Oh well.
Well,
We'll get this to the bank and we'll get this figured out.
well, hold on. Who? Is that it again?
There's a fella out there. He's been robbed. He's been trying to rob that train for must be since last summer. He's an idiot though. First time he put some of his boys on the track pointing guns at the train, the fella never seen him, ran him right over.
Well, if it was the same person, he was a lot more successful this time.
Oh, I look at you, Alice. And just smile.
He looks at Ellie and says, What you mean?
Well, the train is hanging off of a kind of cliff right now.
Well, that's true, but they're all dead.
Yeah, that is true.
How'd the train fell on him or what?
No, so they blew up the bridge.
Paradise Trestle.
Mm.
Huh, that is a step up. You say they're all dead. What happened to them?
Huh. Some ingenuity.
Dynamite, sir.
Ah, dynamite. You want to walk over there by the fire? No, maybe not. Maybe on the other side. Maybe you walk over there a little bit. Anybody that's got dynamite?
I'm not carrying right now. I haven't gotten any since we got into town.
I refuse.
Don't forget that they hadn't given you that yet.
They haven't. That's my hint.
Somebody's packing dynamite in this group. I remember very clearly.
Yeah.
I'll
Oh,
hand
yeah. I
that-
was meaning to at dinner or at breakfast, but we kind of skipped that scene. I'll
Oh,
hand
sure,
it to you now, I guess. Jet.
Oh, right.
Speaking of dynamite here,
Yeah.
Oh, well, now that you say that, I'll walk over here.
Yeah. I was like,
Alice
oh, I'll
was
hand it
already-
there, and then we kind of
Alice
went
was
through and I
already
forgot.
keeping a wide.
So did you give me 1 stick or 2 sticks? Because this is
2.
important. I look at you and be like, "Are you sure you don't want to hold on to that other one?"
I'm not sure if I want to keep dynamite on my person. I'm not exactly trained for that.
I don't know if any of us were, to be honest. But you
Well,
know,
if we're not, I don't want to be the one blowing myself up, to be totally honest.
fair enough. And I'll take them, but I'm unloading that second one back home as soon as I can.
anything else you guys want to do or talk about on the way down the hill?
Just I guess I'm just thinking about like what I'm gonna do with the body and schedule a time in my head when I can tinker a bit.
So yeah, as you get just about sort of a couple hundred yards from the town, you're kind of coming down off the steepest part of this mountain, and the two that are carrying the body, the boss looks at him and says, "Take him back to camp." The two of them sort of turn off into the trees and head off with you see the last thing you see of them as they blend into the trees is the white winding sheet wandering off into the distance.
Alice is going to tell the leader man to read the paper. That's all she's going to say.
Which paper, man?
She's going to say, if you want to know the more of what happened, I suggest you read the paper.
Right. I'll do that, ma'am. But we going to the bank right now.
Also, just Alice assumes he can't read.
Yeah.
Ow.
That's kind of the impression he gave off, yeah. And with that, he leads you back into town and up to the bank. Let's put the town back up here. There we go. And the Miners Bank is number 4, which is right there. So you guys come down the hill and through town, past the boarding house and past the church, into the dusty downtown of Paradise. People moving all over the place, up and down the streets. It's just early afternoon right now. So it's the height of the business day. All the businesses are, there's 150 people in this town, and they are just doing their thing, just full bore. People on horses riding in and out of town. The banging and clattering of the blacksmith in the distance. The sun, it's hot, it's dusty, it's dirty. You're sweaty from walking up that hill, and almost as bad walking down that hill, especially some of you got some pretty fancy boots on.
Yeah, Alice is actually gonna, because it's right next door, so Alice is actually just gonna hop on over to the mercantile to replace
Purse and fixins.
Yes.
Yeah, there is a garbage bin outside, conveniently located, and yes, purse and all the fixins, $15.
Easy peasy, done.
It's as nice as you can get here. It's not what you would have bought in the city, not by any stretch. It's not.
Oh no, this is
by any stretch at all, but it's the nicest one in the shop.
I'm gonna have to be telegraphing to home to get one of my nicer ones from home shipped here. Like that's gonna have to happen.
Yep, absolutely. The telegraph office is just down the street.
Yeah. She's not gonna do that right now, but that is like a high priority for her at this moment.
Yep. So you guys get to the bank, and Alan says, "Will you come in with me? Don't want to be in there alone with unknown people."
I'll come with you. I want to see how this unravels.
Sure. I got to have a report for the sheriff regardless.
I don't really want to, but fine.
And Alice is just walking down the street. She's gone.
I mean, she'll actually. I'm going to the store. Yeah, because they don't know. She didn't tell them.
Nope, you know that's absolutely correct. You slight of puked it.
Yes, I did.
When I see her walk off, I just turn to Jet and Lucius and say, maybe there was too many specks of dust on her boot.
Oh, if she could hear you right now.
Oh, I love it.
And the three of you, with that little snarky comment, head in to see the banker. You head into the bank itself, and there's your standard tellers down one side and a couple office doors at the back. There is a murmur that passes through the bank. There's 5 or 6 customers, 2 or 3 tellers. When you guys, because you're strangers, and when this badass outlaw-looking dude come walking into the bank, there is a moment of, and then one of the doors at the back opens, and you hear, what's this then? And there's a dude in like a suit with waistcoat and bow tie, and he's like 55-ish, mostly bald, little fringe of very shiny black hair. It's all puffy and very heavy set. Big gold chain across to a pocket watch. And the bandit says, these folks, we thought they was claim jumpers, but they claim to have documentation that says, this one here claims he's got documentation that says that man's his. Oh, well, your uncle was Milton, I presume? Yes, Alan Campbell. Pleasure to meet you. They shake hands, and there's kind of a wince in Alan's hand because the guy really grinds down on him. And he leads you into the office, the three of you. He says, I see. Well, there's no need for you to be here. And he points at the bandit. And so you can go back to your tents in the forest or wherever the hell you live. Is anyone watching the mine? And the guy's face just... And he backs out of the room, and you can hear dunk, 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 as his feet run down the wooden walkway. He's going to find his men to send them back up to watch the mine. And he turns to Alan and he says, you said you had documentation? And Alan whips out this piece of paper and flops it on the desk, and the two of them start looking over the documents. Do the three of you step up and have a look as well?
Oh, yep.
Go ahead.
Kind of in the corner, just,
Mm-hmm.
So scrutinize, I'm assuming?
Yeah, give me a scrutinize. Anybody that wants to have a look.
Why not?
Okay. What you don't see much, but what you do see that's really obvious is that the banker's documents, Alan has documents that say that his uncle bought the land from another person at a time like 2 years ago. The banker's document says that Alan's uncle sold the mine to the bank 3 months ago. So it's a newer document. And he says, your uncle was financially distraught after building the railway. He was counting on assistance from one of the rail barons, but I mean, really, who was going to sponsor that? And he looks out the window, and up the hill is this stupid looking train track. So it appears we've got well, it appears you've got an issue. And Alan says, I don't believe this. I simply don't believe it. Your document must not be correct. There was no mention of him selling it. And the banker starts to calm him down. Oh. What we can do is we can send the documents off to have them inspected by a third party, perhaps in Dodge City. Confirm which one is legitimate, if not both. But until then, I would suggest that you keep off the mine. I mean, it's not a problem for you, is it? And Alan's, I should... Well, I guess I can wait. He's very flustered. And he turns to the three of you and says, I owe you and your friend some money. This has been a very odd day. Can I just give you the money here and be gone?
Gladly.
And he whips out his wallet, counts out $400, $100 for each of you, and sort of holds it out towards the three of you. Yes, who's? Do you have a treasurer?
No, sir. We can just take our shares individually. Thanks.
Very good. Well, there's 400, and you split it amongst yourselves.
I'm gonna take my 100, and I'm
That's
going to take 50 of it and hand it back to him. And I'm gonna say I'll be taking the other half out of the metal on the track.
Oh. Well, of course. Certainly, sir. Just don't ask silly questions. Alan? Yes, of course. Yes, thank you. And he puts the 50 back in his pocket. As much as you'd like. I'm going to the hotel. And he wanders out.
Have a
Maybe-
wonderful day, Alan.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. You too. So
Asshole.
the three of you are now standing in the banker's office with the banker.
Well, sir, I truly hope you sort this out, and I truly hope it goes in your favor. And then I
Yeah.
walk out.
Miss, he says to Alice.
Yeah, because I would have come back as soon as I.
Yeah, you walk in at this point, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jet's back in the corner doing the cowboy thing. I can
Be a
see the-
Jet.
Yeah, the hat down over his eyes. Ellie's walking out as you're walking in. And
I'll stop when I hear him say more, though.
Mhm. He says, "Oh yes, miss," and you turn because it might be you, but it was Alice, and he says, he kind of scans you up and down. It's not he's not checking you out. He's checking out how much you're worth,
Yeah.
and he just very quickly scans you down and up and says, "Ah, miss, perhaps are you staying in town long? We do offer excellent rates on our accounts, especially larger deposits."
She's gonna say, she's gonna reach out her hand and just to like reconfirm
Mhm.
exactly how she should be acting, she's
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
say, Alice O'Hare, charmed.
And he takes the hand correctly with just the thumb on top, the fingers
Yep.
underneath, and bends as though to kiss it, but doesn't because that wouldn't be appropriate. But he's
Yes.
the bow of respect. And you see the top of his very shiny bald head, which looks a lot like that. And except shinier.
Yeah.
He polishes his apparently. And he stands back up and says, "Ah, the O'Hares.
Hmm.
I should have noticed." And you notice his accent has gotten a lot greasier, a lot more acquisitive.
And when he says I should have
He is
noticed,
ignoring the other three in the room.
when he says I should have noticed, she'll say, yes, you should have, and she'll rip her hand out of his hand. And then she'll say, she's gonna say, on to the next task, to the rest of the group, and then like pointedly look at him, and then just turn around and walk out. And on the way out, she's gonna say, you should read the paper.
So the two ladies have left the building. Lucius and Jet,
Yep.
you just sort of and follow them out.
I'll be the last one out. I'm gonna do that very pointed, just like they've already stepped out, and then I just kind of look up, stand up real slow, turn around, and walk out.
And as the
Also-
door,
I'm Alice now, apparently.
Oh, good.
I'm better than everybody else. Oh, my
as you step out, the door closes behind you. You hear from the other room a very different voice. It's the same guy, but you hear, "Damn it, Edward, you idiot!" And you're smack. the sound of him smacking himself in the forehead.
Yeah.
And you guys walk out of the bank.
Oh, good.
Well, what else? What would you like to do next? This is kind of fell apart at the seams a little bit.
What time of day is it?
It is now middle of the afternoon.
Well, Alice wants to know what happened, so Alice is gonna ask the group what happened.
I can tell you on the way, and I'm walking over catty corner to the marshal's office, and I'll kind of just sum it up real concise like.
For the marshal and for these guys, so everybody knows what. Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, no problem. So yeah, you get that information to him, and he's just nodding and says, yeah. I don't like that banker much. I'd make damn sure you check them papers.
I ain't much for documents, sir. But you know, they're having them shipped off somewhere, I believe. These are my traveling companions. This is the marshal of the town.
Pleasure to
Marshal
meet you.
McIntosh, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Ma'am,
Alice,
sir.
Alice O'Hare.
Pleasure.
And he shakes your hand, but he shakes your hand. Everybody, there's no proper Southern gentleman here. This is just like I'm shaking your hand, and it's all calluses and toughness and hard work. Like he used to be a cowboy before he became a sheriff.
Mhm.
He says, "Thanks for the." I just can't keep a voice straight in my head today. Thanks for the information, there, fella. He's talking to Jet in particular. You said that fella had some bites out of him?
Yeah. Sir, I don't know any better way to put it other than what this undertaker told me, but there's some kind of something up there that you don't want to fool around with.
I give him a detailed autopsy report in a sense.
There was ghost rock in his mouth?
Indeed.
Ghost rock in his mouth. There it is. There's the voice. That's Mayor Marshall McIntosh voice. Ghost rock in his mouth, and then the wolves ate him after that.
Seems to be
I
some
don't
straight-
like where this is going.
I think it gets a little bit worse than that. There seemed to be some occult ritual to Baphomet.
You know what? Crazy religious folk ain't my big problem right now.
Might be if they have something to do with his death.
Are
I
there,
guess that's possible.
are there any radical religious groups around that you know of?
Ain't a lot of radical anybody around here. We all pretty conservative town, so to speak. But I can't say. I'm not in a position to talk about that. I cannot confuse my personal beliefs with my professional opinions, and I don't got no professional opinions because I got no proof.
I see.
All I will say is there's some folks in this town that might not be against bringing something like that or trying to bring something like that back.
Oh,
Wait,
Alice is
whoa.
latched on at this point. She's like,
Mhm.
Yeah. I'm going. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Alice is gonna sidle up to him and be like, "You remind me of someone I know."
Ma'am, I ain't buying you a new hat.
You dastardly fool! I can buy my own damn hats.
It's just been my experience when a lady's real nice to me like that, she wants me to buy her something. Maybe that's just my wife.
I can buy my own damn hats.
If
But
only
you
she
do
could buy.
remind me. Shut up, Jet. But you do remind me of a man I knew once named Marshall Dillon.
This going somewhere, ma'am?
Not yet. And she'll back up. And that's all she's gonna say.
And I'm gonna lean in his ear and be like, "Keep an eye on her, Marshall. Trust her."
I'm gonna go up to the marshal and I'm just going to say, and I swear I'm also not looking for a hat, but a man like you who's been in this business so long, clearly you would have some sort of insight and intuition about what could be going on, and that could be very helpful for someone like us if we might be able to help prevent something like this from happening again. And can I roll a what would that be? A persuasion?
Sure. Yep. Going to roll. So you say that to him, and he just smiles and says, "Ma'am, you're absolutely right. I could give you a whole bunch of suppositions that might be helpful, but I don't get paid for suppositions, and I can't have you lot going off half-baked on an idea that I have. All I will tell you is I don't like that banker. There's something wrong with the doctor, and that blacksmith is up to something."
Damn.
But you didn't hear none of that from me.
Are they friends?
That'd be a strong word. I mean, it's a small town. Everybody knows everybody, and everybody works with everybody. I mean, everybody goes to the dock eventually, right? Everybody goes to the bank. Well, almost everybody except them poor bastards in the tent city. And everybody goes to the blacksmith.
Yeah.
I told you when he looks at Jet, this town's full of strange folks.
Well, I don't
Frankly,
know.
I'm more worried by that tainted flesh thing.
Tainted flesh?
Well, you said that body had ghost rock in it, and then the
Yes.
wolves ate from it. It makes men crazy. I don't know what the hell it'd do to a wolf.
Oh.
Probably the same thing. This
Great.
whole
Now I
town.
got a valley full of crazy wolves to worry about on top of everything else.
This whole town seems to be poisoned by this ghost rock in some way.
That's a damn fine observation, ma'am. You ever seen what money does to people, what they're willing to do for it?
Yes.
Oh, yes. It corrupts, it consumes.
Makes you a real asshole sometimes.
I was at a fair in Dodge City, and they put $100 bill in the middle of a big pool of shit. I mean, 3 foot deep and 30 foot across. $100 bill right in the middle. Not one fella, not two fellas, must have been 30 fellas is in there up to their waist trying to be the first one to get to that. $100 to call through shit up to your waist in front of everybody you know. I don't know what the hell people think.
Desperation mostly. They don't think.
Same damn thing with this ghost rock. They know it's poison. They know it kills them. They know it makes them crazy, but still up that hill, up that hill, up that hill. Find it, find it, find it. And now this. At least when it was in the ground, the critters didn't get at it.
Does the blacksmith doesn't use any of it for anything, does he?
She
Oh.
can be paid to make anything out of anything, but I insist that she forge any ghost rock. You'll notice there ain't no forge in this town. They're not allowed to do it here. I won't let them. They forge that shit out in the woods somewhere. I don't even want to know. What I don't know, I don't have to be the police for, right?
It's smart.
And
Who knows
always
if that stuff gets in the
always
air?
downwind. That's the rule.
Hmm.
Is the steel as bad? Is the steel any better than the rock?
Once it's forged, it's all right because you know how steel made, son? You take iron and you take carbon and you burn it together.
Yeah.
Do the same thing with the ghost rock, and it's like the carbon. It's kind of gone at the end. It makes the steel hard, but itself kind of burns up in the process. So as far as anybody knows, ghost steel is okay.
It's almost like it neutralizes the poison.
Kind of, yeah. Not 100% though, because as I understand it, there's some folks and some things, sort of tainted things. You know what I'm talking about. There's stuff out there that ain't supposed to be. Apparently, some of it don't like ghost steel.
That's what I'm counting on.
It won't cross the tracks none, they say. Like a snake and a horsehair rope. They don't cross it none unless you force them to. That's a real old wives' tale, by the way, and it's actually more or less true. Most snakes will not cross a rope made of horsehair, but it's weird.
I've actually heard that.
Good to know.
Yeah.
I like the feel of it. Interesting.
A lot of barns put horsehair ropes on the doors of the barn. Anyway.
And there's the history lesson for today. Those of you that were tuned in for useless history may now go back to watching the game. I almost said you know, but no, don't do that. Keep watching.
Okay.
Painted walls. Keep watching.
They won't cross the seal, but it doesn't have the same effect as the.
As far as I know, ma'am, it don't make people crazy. They built that whole line up there, and the folks what did it ain't no crazier than they were when they started. I mean, pretty crazy to build a railway that steep. I mean, what the hell did they think was going up there?
Well, we just came into the possession of quite a number of pieces of ghost steel, thanks to Mr. Allen. So, regardless of how I feel about it, I may need to go talk to that blacksmith.
Oh, she's a fine lady. I think you'll find her very helpful.
But
Ain't no but. She's just crazy.
crazy I can deal with.
You know, like I said, she's you don't play with ghost rock and not come out crazy like, right? And she forges it.
Fair enough.
So just watch yourself around her and that banker and that doctor. And the undertaker too. He's nuts too. But I mean, I think maybe they all are. No offense intended, sir. No offense.
It's fine. Actually, I was planning to visit the Undertaker sometime. Could you tell me just a little bit about him?
Absolutely. Right south of town here, son. You just, like normal folk, we don't keep the cemetery where folks can see it from in town. It's a couple miles down the road.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're going that direction, I'll tell you now, it ain't a little cemetery, sir. There's damn near as much folks in that as there is in this town.
Had a feeling for some reason.
Cross the tracks.
How old is this town again?
Well, ma'am, the church got put here 25 years ago to make up for that. Well, they said it was to make up for the ruins on the up at the head of the lake. There's a real old church there too. Nobody knows where it's from or anything, and say the place is cursed. So they built you know how the religious folk is. They felt like they had to cleanse the place, so they built themselves a church. And where there's a church, there's got to be followers. Where there's followers, there's got to be an inn.
Mm-hmm.
And they found Ghost Rock.
Makes sense.
How did you end up here?
I was kind of hoping you wouldn't ask that question. Remember I said earlier about people doing stupid shit for money?
Uh-huh.
I didn't know why when I signed on, but this town pays 3 times as much for sheriffing as any other town in this whole state. And man, when I took the job, I was younger, dumber, and broker. But now I know them all. Can't damn well leave them here, can I?
Well, I'd guess not.
Oh, the pastor. Don't trust the pastor either. He's nuts, too.
I'm sensing a trend.
What do you mean, miss?
Well, nearly everyone you've mentioned is someone who people here would encounter frequently, and they're all insane according to you.
That's fairly put, yeah. There's a lot of folks in this town ain't right.
Must make your job quite interesting.
To put it mildly, ma'am. And then the only assistance I got is the dumbest human ever walked a planet. You ever heard of fellas so dumb he got a count to put on his shoes? He's got instructions he remembered to put on cowboy boots, miss.
Trust me, I've seen my fair share of stupid men in my life. I understand.
I mean, don't get me wrong. My daughter and my wife tell me he is some kind of handsome, but oh man, that boy is stupid.
To be fair, sir, I did finish up my work today, so I'm still around whenever you need it.
Well, I'm sure later on tonight we'll have a couple drunks in the tank again. But I think maybe I stay here tonight. I got a bad feeling about what might come up. You folks are staying at the hotel, are you?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
All my stuff's in the office.
Your stuff here, yeah. Well, let's just say I got a bad feeling. Why don't you all go and rest up? I suspect by the morning I might have a job to offer you. Oh, and if you're going to go see the Undertaker, I'd go pretty quick. I don't know about you, but I don't go to cemeteries after dark.
Well, they're no different than in the day, just a bit darker.
That's right, ma'am, and I can't see shit. I don't want to fall in a hole.
I love his actual logical reason. It has nothing to do with
Hey, Underkeeping School 101. They actually teach us that.
I mean,
Luckily,
I guess
we
it
have a
doesn't
guide.
take a lantern or something, but it seems kind of disrespectful to the dead, don't it?
Absolutely. They say that it actually attracts spirits.
I'm sure they do.
spirits.
And not much on spirits myself. Well, I mean, the kind in the bottle I kind of like, but
Anyway,
don't drink it no more, but I still like it a lot.
Oh Lord.
So he looks over at Jet and he says, "So, son, you bound and determined to spend another night in here?"
I don't feel like paying for a room if I have work to do here, but that's up to you, sir. This is your jurisdiction. I'm just kind of here for the time working.
Well, why don't you come back after the main meal tonight, and by then I'm sure we'll have the drunks in, and y'all can watch them all night again, and I will. And he stops. Kind of looks around at realizes there's more than just Jet standing here. Particularly looks embarrassed when he looks at the two ladies.
Anyway,
Oh.
I'm
He
Well,
was about to announce that he was off to meet his mistress.
Yeah.
well, with that being said, sir, I think I personally need to go talk to this blacksmith. I have some ideas.
I will actually accompany you. Perhaps I'll see the Undertaker later. And Jet, if you want, I can help get some ghost steel with you. I think I could use some of it myself.
Is it like afternoon right now? Is it like
Very late afternoon, like it's shortly before the evening meal.
Okay.
Notice how I keep using that phrase and not supper or dinner so that nobody can get upset with me because one of those means lunch somewhere and one of them means, yeah.
Smart.
I don't know. Alice is confused. Alice has there's so many stories to follow here. Alice doesn't know what to do.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird thing because there's no main mission right now, but everybody's got 4 things they want to do. So what would you guys like to do?
I'll accompany Jet.
To the blacksmith?
Yeah, and discuss like ways we can collect using Ghost Steel with my horse and wagon maybe later.
I mean, the Ghost Steel right now is in the form of railway rails. So they're, sort of each one of them is sort of 30 feet long and that tall and got that, that shape. But yeah, it's going to definitely require a professional to turn this into anything other than rails for railway. So you two head in that direction. The other two?
I'm thinking of Mike going back to the saloon and taking the bartender up. Maybe if the sheriff or if any of the other people are a little bit drunker, they may be a bit more inclined to talk.
Absolutely. That makes good sense.
Yeah. I think I'll actually follow along with Jet and Lucius.
Okay.
Because I'm kind of interested, because he said that the blacksmith was crazy, so I'm kind of interested in what she's got to say.
All right. So let's do the 3 first, and then we'll go to the bar. As you guys walk out of the bank, or sort of walk away from the sheriff's office out into the main street, you can see down the street and you can see all the other buildings in town. There is sort of, as you guys you're getting towards the blacksmith. So when you get to this corner here, you notice for the first time that you've been in this part of town, there's a shingle hanging out on the front of this building, and it's got a broken bone carved into it, like painted white on a dark brown background, the international sign for doctor, for people that can't read. On the roof, strangely enough, there's only here, not in the rest of the town as you look around, but on the roof here, it's so obvious. There's at least a dozen ravens just sitting along the ridge of the roof. Every once in a while, one of them flaps off and flies somewhere and comes back and lands.
Huh.
But they're only above the doctor's office. Anybody with either history or occult knowledge, give me one of those. Or is history even an ability in this? No, it isn't. Wrong game.
It's your game.
I will do that. Occult.
Yeah, I don't.
Could
occult knowledge, or let's go.
Could you do spirit?
Yes, you could. That's the other one I was looking for. Give me a spirit check or occult knowledge.
I'll do a spirit.
I have to get back to this.
Oh.
Jet.
Okay.
That's like my best stat.
That's right. Persuasion's mine, and I got an 8. So.
Fun fact: you know what a group of ravens are called, right?
A murder.
That's crows.
No,
Oh, that's crows.
it's an unkindness of ravens.
Unkindness of ravens. I knew that. Actually, I'd forgotten.
A murder and unkindness. I'm sensing a trend.
This unkindness of ravens, and again, this makes perfect sense. I love it when the dice work like this. Lucius, the Undertaker, would know this. Ravens are considered psychopomps, which means that those people who believe in that sort of mysticism or magic in this world, the psychopomps escort the recently dead from this world to the afterworld. And they're all sitting on top of the doctor's office. Yet, there's one right on the front, just about like its claws are hanging over the edge. It's got one foot on each side of the peak. And you all hear the caw. I mean, these are ravens. But Jet, it's like in the back of your head, like a drill, just and you kind of get the urge to look at this raven.
I'm gonna look.
You turn up and it's looking right at you with its head tilted over like this. And it lifts its left foot, puts it down, lifts its right foot, puts it down, and just keeps doing that. Back and forth. Back and forth.
Do I
Stop.
see?
Yeah, you guys can all see it now. I mean, Jet's just.
Do I see him staring at it?
Are you staring? I mean, it's a pretty.
I mean, yeah, I'm like,
I'm gonna say to you, careful, cowboy. It's said that staring them too long, they'll steal your soul.
Well, that is a bunch of nonsense. What have you got? Some bread in your crumbs, a pocket in your something?
Drops off the edge and starts to fly directly towards you, Jet, like right at your face.
I would like to not move. I'm just, if this hits me in the face, it hits me in the face, but I ain't moving.
A faith check.
Oh, that's a weird one to pick.
Do you have that?
I do not.
Oh, boy.
So there will be no faith.
-4.
So
And you have
1d6 minus 4.
D6 minus 4. That's a 0.
It's a 0.
It's coming right at your face, and you're like, this is a bird. I got this, and it's coming right for my face. It's going to put its beak right in my eye, and you, at the last second, you duck, and it flies across the top, snags your hat. It's about 10 feet, and the hat's just too heavy, and it drops it into the sand, and it starts to fly away, not back to the top of the building, but off into the forest. And as it does, the sun glints off of it. And you notice it's so black. It's blacker than any raven you've ever seen. It's so black, the sunlight is refracting off the wingtips as dark blue. And you just hear one more time, as it flies away.
Well,
Alice
that's a
is
bad
going-
omen.
Alice is going to pick up Jet's hat and give it back to him. She's going to get the hat.
Thanks, man.
She hands you back your hat, and you look. There's 2 sets of claw marks. Only in 2 places it actually gone through, but you can see where it grabbed and it punctured in 2 spots, and then it couldn't carry it and let it go. So there's actually now raven claw marks on the top of your hat.
Sounds about right. You just put it back.
Yeah, she's gonna say, Daddy always said that a man was nothing without his hat.
And that's a perfect line for us to take our break on. Oh, Jet, weird stuff's happening. You're not even asleep.
Right?
Oh, you don't even know.
Dang old boy's been marked now. I don't know what he's gonna do. Hey, a group of ravens might be an unkindness, but it's better than a group of geese, because that's just called a murder squad. Anyways, let's do a break. Stay with us. Let's get back into it, y'all. Hope you're prepared for a whole bunch more critters and magics and ghostly devilish stuff, because Marshall Kevin's getting quite into it here.
That's me. Sure. Let's do that. These guys are in the midst of an adventure. They are very excitedly walking down the street in a small western town. Very excitedly, very impressively. They just had a close encounter with a raven, which was a little odd. And one of them is heading to the bar, which is at the appropriate time of the day, but she plans on working there instead of drinking, which is also very strange. So let's start with the group of weirdos walking down the street that just had the encounter with said blue-tinged raven. Hat back on head. Jet, screw the hat back down. The 3 of you, the 2 of you just saw what happened to him.
If you want, partner, I might be able to fix your hat later.
Nah, I ain't too worried. It's just more character.
Luckily, he's not bald. Otherwise, it'd be 2 sunburnt spots by the end of tomorrow.
Yeah.
Says a bald guy who once wore a
so-
mesh hat and ended up with a really interesting sunburn on the top of my head. Yeah, waffle burn. Yeah.
So I stand by this. What have you got? Some kind of food in your pocket or something? What in the world did that thing attack you for?
Ma'am, I honestly, nothing I say is gonna make any sense to you. So I don't even know what I could tell you because it ain't food and it ain't nothing like that. So
There is nothing else.
you keep on believing that, ma'am, and I keep on walking.
Yes, I will keep on believing the truth. Okay. Good.
I'm already gone.
That doth protest too much.
Like, yeah, I am gonna keep believing what's real.
So the three of you, it's only a couple blocks from here to the blacksmith, and you arrive at the blacksmith's place, and you hear as you approach the clang, clang, clang of somebody hammering steel. As you walk around the front and look in, it's a very open building. It's like the front half of it is just posts across the front, and then it's like 10 or 15 feet, and then there's a wall, and behind that there's obviously stables. But where she's working is out in front on a forge, and she's got her anvil. And this is not a large lady. She's sort of like 5'5", looks like she'd blow away in a strong wind. But in one hand, she's got the tongs holding a horseshoe over the rounded end of the anvil. And in the other hand, about halfway up the shaft, she's holding a 12-pound sledgehammer and just bong, 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 pounding this horseshoe into shape. And as you approach, she stops, shoves it back in the fire, looks up at you. Yes,
Good evening, miss.
Howdy.
it's a pleasure to meet you. Eh? What can I make for you today?
Me and my associate we've come we might have some come upon some ghost steel. We were wondering if you could perhaps refine it a bit for us.
Did you breathe any of the fumes, sir?
No.
Sorry, wrong accent. Did you breathe any? Female ghee, that's what I'm aiming for.
Okay.
You did not. Forget it. No, I don't care. Not my night. This is not me at 10. For the people that are here for the first time, this is not me at my best.
No, ma'am. This is these are, I assume, probably your work. The pieces of rail that aren't being used, we actually were told we could reuse, and we were hoping to have some things forged out of it.
I can certainly do that. What was the plan? Everybody sounds the same for the rest of the night. Fuck it.
Well, ma'am, I would essentially, all I'd really like to have is, and I pull out my little plain badge that I have from home, and I was like, I'd like to have another one of these, real simple like. I'd like to have some buckshot, made for some for my. And I pull out my shotgun. And last but not least, I'd like the longest spool of wire you could produce out of that so that I can run it all the way around town.
That last one's going to be a bit of a challenge. It's a very high, well, if it was carbon, it would be high carbon steel. It's got a very high content of ghost rock. It's very brittle. I couldn't get it that small. The
How
shotgun
small?
pellets, maybe. I
All
could
right.
I could make you ammunition for that. And she points at the pistol and the rifle.
That'll work.
Things like that, I could do that.
Well, if you can make the shotgun spray, that'd be better because that's what I use for disagreeable things. But I'll take whatever I can get.
Well, you get me a piece of it, and I'll make all the I do have to melt it, which means I have to go out of town, which means...
My dear, do you have a mask?
I beg your pardon?
Do you have a mask for the fumes, out of curiosity? What do you use? Do you use a mask? Any protection?
It doesn't help.
Well, if you give me just a little bit of time, perhaps I can make something for you that might help. I'm a bit of a tinkerer, so...
Oh, yes, I am as well, actually, and that's why I know it doesn't help. I've tried 24 different models.
I see. Fascinating. Could I see some of your models sometimes?
Well, not now. They're all in
Later, another time. But
certainly.
but for myself, there are some pieces that I would like to make for my tinkering. I have them all written in my schematics. Perhaps I could show you some other time.
Of course, yes. Who's getting this ghost steel for me? Where's it coming from?
It's from the end of the railroad, ma'am. I don't know. How do you normally... It's large chunks of the stuff. I don't honestly rightly know how to move it. I was hoping you might have a solution to that, being the blacksmith and all.
Well, when they built it, they had troops of laborers here carrying the pieces. It took 20 or 30 men to carry one of those.
One, wow.
And you can't cut it, I'm assuming.
Well, I can cut it once it's here.
Oh,
Well, not here, but out of town.
oh boy.
Well, perhaps, do you want us to bring it to you directly to your shop outside of town?
Or bring me a piece small enough that I can carry it in a bag.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I mean, you could probably cut a chunk off the end of the rail if you had something hard enough to cut with. I mean, it's steel, but don't let the sheriff catch you.
Why is that? I happen to work alongside the sheriff.
He's got a thing in his head about ghost steel. He thinks the steel itself makes people crazy too. I'm not allowed to make it in town. I'm not allowed to stock it. Which, by the way, if you were to do this, I would have to sell it to you in the trees. He's a little nuts, that man. I don't think he likes me.
He's approved any of the binds that I have to do. I already ran them by him, so I don't think it'll be any issue on your end.
Well, if you can get me the pieces and he says I can do it here, I can do it here.
Oh, well, no, ma'am. I'm sorry. You have to... He still wants it. Well, I don't know. How's that work?
Well, he still
Already
wants to do it
made.
out there. He just doesn't want you to do it in town. That's all.
I would have to do it out of town because it would involve remelting the ghost steel. And I know there's no fumes anymore. They all came out when I made the steel.
So I assume you have some sort of forge out of town?
I do. Quite a considerable one, just over by the river.
How far out of town is that?
Well, the sheriff asked that it be half a mile, but it's more like 600 or 700 feet.
That's convenient.
Of course it is.
I do follow the other rule. I only downwind, only when the wind is blowing that way, and she stops. Well, right now it's okay. But it's late now. We don't have time for today.
That's fine. We'll take us some time to get us the steel and to bring it to you anyway.
All right then.
Can I do a streetwise check to see what kind of vibe I'm getting off her?
Yep, absolutely.
I'd also like to do a medicine check.
On her?
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
This game you guys are rolling really poorly tonight.
Alice can't figure it out. She can't quite put her finger on what exactly it is.
I don't have any streetwise, so who cares?
Not a good judge of people. Trusts everybody. It's like a certain warlock we all know.
What? What's a warlock?
You were going to do a medicine check?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. She appears sane, normal, healthy.
No respiratory problems.
She's not hacking or coughing. No, I mean, as a blacksmith, you'd expect her to, even if she wasn't working with this stuff, but she's fine. Perfectly healthy.
You keep yourself quite healthy, might I say. What's your secret?
I work very hard, and I was blessed with good genes. My father was 107.
107. Fascinating.
So, how did you come to this town?
I was born here. Dad was a blacksmith before me. I've been here 19 years now.
Yeah, I was about to say, how old is she? Because the town's only been here
Really young.
25 years.
19.
Huh. Fair warning, I'm just going to ask everyone that, so just
I don't believe we've actually inquired your name. My name is Lucius Glory.
Genevieve Trent. A pleasure to meet you.
A pleasure. Shake your hand.
So you bring me the steel, and I'll take it into the forest. Little pieces. Bring it to me. I'll take it into the forest. When I'm done, what I usually do is there's another place half a mile away. I build a little fire. I make some white smoke come up. You come to that spot. You buy what you need. The sheriff thinks we did it there. Oh, shit. You wanted me to make a badge? And she looks at Jet.
And he's grinning, and I'm like, yes, ma'am.
The blush just rises up her face. I can move the forge. I can put it further away. It doesn't have 600 or 700 feet. It's probably a little closer than it actually. It's probably more like 1,500 feet.
Oh, look at that. Okay, there it is.
Ma'am, as far as I can tell, the sheriff is of the type who, as long as he don't know, he'd rather not know. And I may be for all in for doing what's right, but I don't even know the word. Book learning was never my strong suit. I ain't a hard ass about the rules, ma'am. So as long as no one's getting hurt or causing problems, and as long as you're on the side of justice, you're all right with me.
Oh, thank you. Has anybody told you guys that there's something tremendously I can feel like I can trust all of you.
Been getting that a lot.
I know you can trust at least one of us.
Fucking Jet.
I the proverbial bird at you.
So she says to you, well, if you get me that medal, then we can tomorrow, though, right? And she reaches back into the fire with the tongs and pulls out the horseshoe, which is now almost white hot. It's been in there way too long. And she hangs it over the end of the anvil and waits for it to start to cool. But she's picked up her hammer with the other hand.
Yes, ma'am. Before we go, though, one last question. How much do your services generally run? I know you got to work out of town. But
you bring me the materials, and ammunition to be $2 per round. The shotgun, if I can make them, would be about $4 per round, because that's going to be really tough. And there's just no way I can do anything like wire. I mean, I could make rods.
Can you make springs?
It's not that kind of steel. It has no flex.
I see. Hinges?
We could do hinges, sure.
Okay, blades and stuff?
Absolutely. You wouldn't want to twist them. They're going to be quite fragile, but they'll be very sharp.
Oh, excellent.
Brass knuckles?
If you insist, yes. And the steel's down to red, and she starts bang, 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 bang.
All right. I guess that's our cue.
Yeah, I don't think we're getting anything else.
And is this is also the place where the horses are kept?
It's like
Yes,
right.
it's the livery is right across the street. and she points across the road, and you guys can see it's across the street. There's kind of a red line around those 4 buildings. That is actually stables and a fenced area, and there's a number of horses in there. Your horses are actually in that building there, the largest of them.
Oh,
There's my beautiful boy.
all right.
So, you
Alice
guys.
has already visited her horse.
So you guys are heading back to the hotel. It's getting to be late evening.
Yes, and I'd like to do a little tinkering before bedtime.
Sure. What would you like to try to do?
Sort of a coffin that I can like fold and unfold just to
Just the sides fold down so it's flat.
So
Based-
what
like
it does,
coffin?
it's basically collapsible. So like you know how like tents, like you just fold them a certain way and you can bring them out, but in a way just a
Yep.
clever physics way, just with hinges and some.
Sure.
spring.
So your first roll, which will take you the rest of this evening, make me a tinkering roll to create a blueprint.
Mm-hmm.
If
Okay.
you remember, this is a 3-step process.
Yes.
Create the blueprint, you gather the materials, and then you build the thing. So that will require 3. Mechanically speaking, it requires 3 rolls. But your first one, go ahead.
Okay, give me a second. For some reason, I've lost my sheet.
Mm.
Where'd you
So
go?
while you do that, we're going to flip, and you guys are heading back to do that for the rest of the evening. Meanwhile, down another street,
Drunkards are up too.
there's a couple. Ellie, just as you roll up to the door, you hear the sound of stomping feet from inside, and you recognize the sound immediately. You grab the door and pull it open just in time for the bouncer to come out with one in each hand and just boom, out into the street. These 2 drunk idiots land in the street. This tall, thin fella, white shirt with mother of pearl buttons, big white cowboy hat, real tight jeans, and a real big belt buckle, comes sauntering up the road. All right, fellas, you come with me. Boy's real pretty, and he's got a big badge that says Marshal. It's about twice the size of the sheriff's badge. And he
Of
starts
course it is.
picking these guys up off the ground. One of them looks at it, I can kick your ass in a minute, you know?
I look at the bouncer and say, they're starting early tonight, aren't they?
Oh, they start early every night. I threw my first one out today at noon. Oh, yeah, the boss has been talking about you. You here for drinks, or you want to work?
I figure may as well try to make a little money if I'm going to be stuck here for a while. At least
Oh, yeah.
here's a familiar environment.
Yeah, come on in. I'm Dave.
Ellie, pleasure.
Nice to meet you. Any trouble? You call me just real loud, Dave, and out they go.
I appreciate it. I have a bad habit of having lots of men like to throwing themselves at me, but I also am not totally defenseless, and I pat my gun.
Yeah, don't worry, ma'am. I used to, when I worked on my daddy's farm, it was my job to put the bulls over the fence because he was too damn cheap to build gates. So I could put these fellas out. I don't need no guns. None of them are stupid enough to draw down in here.
Well, it's good to have you on my side then.
And he goes back to standing by. As you walk inside, he stands by the door and starts perusing his domain. Looks like a lion on the hunt, on the prowl, right? He's just waiting for somebody to do something stupid. And the room, as he comes back in, the room quietens down just that little bit. And you recognize he's obviously very, very good at his job. So you see the bartender behind the bar, and he waves over at you. And it is only just after the dinner meal, and it is busy in here. This place is booming.
I go up to him and I just say, I'm getting the sense that this is what this town's recreational activity is.
You got that right.
I'm sorry, what was your name again?
Ronald,
Ronald.
nice to meet you.
Well, I figure, would you like any assistance this evening?
Absolutely. In fact, and he pulls up a tray that he's been filling behind the bar, and it's got like 8 pints on it. He says, the table in the corner.
I
$2 an hour, plus you keep all your tips.
Works for me. I'll grab the
Thanks.
tray and head over.
Yeah, you head over to the corner, and it's a bunch of, this is miners, and this is not the nice, this is not the really nice bar. It's not that kind of place. This is a Western town. This is a Western bar. But yeah, they're sitting on the table, and as you show up with the beer, hey, you're new.
Whose orders who?
It's all beer. Just put it down.
Anything for all of you? Here you go. Set it all down.
Yep. And
If there's anything else you need, just make sure to holler.
And he holds up a 5 and a 1, and he hands them to you. Here.
Thank you kindly.
You look up at the wall, and it says beer $1.
All right.
It's underpaid you quite considerably. There was like 8 beer on that table, and he only gave you $6.
Oh, excuse me, sir. I
Yep.
believe you miscounted?
I gave you a 10 and a 1, right?
No, a 5 and a 1. That's 2 more, sir.
And one of his buddies slams him in the shoulder. I told you it wouldn't fucking work. And pulls out his wallet and hands you another 5.
Thank you. And I just pocket it. Walk off.
Yeah. So over the course of the night, I mean, there's drinks all around there. It is a very busy evening in the bar. Were you planning on just working tonight, or were you going to try and gather information, or what was your plan?
I was gonna see, because I know that the marshal said that he might be coming by, so I was going to see if he was coming in, or if the doctor or the undertaker, the blacksmith, anybody that the marshal mentioned as well.
Okay. As the night wears on, you keep an eye on the door, and the marshal shows up very briefly, comes in, talks to the bartender for just a couple seconds, kind of nods like we've got, he's basically, it looks like he's just confirming that they've done the nightly pickup out in the street already. But he is there if you want to talk.
All right, I'll just go up to him and say, well, Sheriff, while you're here, would you like a drink on me? I'm sure you've had a busy night.
Appreciate it. I actually don't drink anymore, but I appreciate the offer.
Well, I didn't say it had to be alcohol. Would you like some water?
I think he keeps some coffee back there for himself. I never thought about ordering coffee in a bar, but can you check maybe?
It'd be my pleasure.
So you run off, and yeah, there is coffee. It's in the back. It's normally only the bartender that drinks it. He keeps himself, yeah, sure. He pours him a cup. Is for the sheriff?
Yes, sir.
Oh, no charge.
Very
Yeah.
kind of you. And I'll give it to the sheriff.
And he has a sip, and he says, you and that group of yours, there's some stuff you should know. I told you about the people I don't trust. But there's more than that going on here, and you and yours seem like the kind of folks that like to poke their noses into stuff.
Well, we kind of got thrown into it when our train got blown up, but I do like a good story. And Alice certainly does.
Well, talking of stories, some of them don't believe. Some of the folks in this town, like I said, they ain't right in the head. Some folks are going to tell you that they see lights up at the top of the lake where the old church is, but I've been here years and I ain't never seen no lights up there. But they'll tell you that.
And they're
Personally,
saying,
I think it's the devil and his friends.
the devil.
Yeah, Devil Barton.
Who's that?
The fella runs there's a camp south of the lake, off in the forest. It's moving all the time, so nobody can find him. He's I guess you'd call him a bandit leader. Got a whole bunch of boys working for him.
Do you guys have any problems with bandits around these areas?
Just that one group. And the weird bit with them is that, well, it's going to sound weird, but I shot one of them a couple days ago, and he just stood there. He didn't go down or nothing. I hit him right in the chest. There wasn't even any blood. He just laughed and ran away.
I've never heard of a thing like that. Could he have been wearing some sort of protection?
Not like anything I ever seen, but maybe. Of course, you hear foolishness about them too. That dumbass in the corner there told me he saw one of them breathing fire 2 weeks ago.
Seems like there's a lot of crazy talk going around this area. Must be hard to pick through what's real and what's fumes or drinks.
I just assume they're all crazy. It's just safer. Damn it, I trust you. I gotta tell you something. I seen the bunch of you, well, I heard about the bunch of you. Y'all went to the bank today and had a word with that banker.
Interesting fellow, him.
Yeah. As I understand it, you're working for a fellow that's got a bit of a problem with the banker.
Working for is a loose term. We did a favor for him, yes.
That makes me feel a lot better, because let's just put it this way. I hope you ain't backing the wrong horse in this race.
I don't tend to back any horse unless I know exactly what odds are. What exactly do you know of him?
You've been doing this for a long time, working in bars, ain't you?
I've been doing it since I was 16.
As for you, that's a very long time. Yeah, he's there's some people in this town that are doing things they should not be doing.
What sort of things?
Ma'am, there's people trying to bring up stuff they don't know how to put down.
Are you talking the occult?
That's the word. In fact, the last 4 letters of that, I think I got one right here in this town.
Really? Seems like a bit of a small town to have a cult running around. What have they been doing? What makes you think that?
Well, I got a pretty good idea, not so much what they're doing, but who they think they're doing it for. You ever seen a melted Y? Looks like a Y, but it's all squishy at the ends.
Was that the thing that we saw at the... Yeah, we saw one when we were checking out the mine earlier today.
Oh, Christ, they're up there too. That symbol keeps showing up. And people keep showing up dead next to it.
You think the cult murdered that poor man?
I think the damn fools are making offerings, is what I think. I don't think it's gonna amount to much, but they're killing people. So I don't care what they think is happening.
No, they're killing for no reason.
Yeah.
Do you have any... It's a small community. Do you have any idea who would be involved with such a thing?
I can't be sure, but at least one person out of them's got to have some real power in this town, or damn well found them by now.
I suppose so.
Most of the folks in this town ain't nothing special, but somebody somewhere's hiding a hell of a mind. This has been going on for 4 or 5 years now.
How many people have died? And have they been as gruesome and ritualistic as the man we found?
Funny that. Started off, lots of bad accidents. Fella fall off a horse and mysteriously break his neck. Fella trip over the rails and fall down the hill. And then it's like they stopped trying. And it was just suicides, murders. This one, it's a whole new level. I don't like it. They're escalating.
Or it could be personal.
Probably listening. Looks around this full bar of people.
Well, at this point of night, I feel like if anybody's listening, they're not really comprehending.
There is that, ma'am. And he finishes the coffee. You be careful, you and yours.
We'll do our best. But I'm sure, as you already know, our fine Jet likes to get himself in the middle of any trouble. And I'd be happy to help a fine man like yourself.
That young fool reminds me a lot of me a long time ago.
I think more men like you and him might make the world a bit safer.
Thank you, miss. That's real nice. It's nice to hear somebody say something nice for a change. Usually they just yell at me when I haul off their drunk husbands.
Well, they can't exactly yell at them. They've yelled themselves silly at them. Might as well yell at someone new.
That's true, isn't it? Them boys ain't listening. They all too drunk. I'll let you get back to work, miss. But I got a bad feeling, and my bad feelings are almost always right. So I hope you and yours get a good night's sleep tonight. I can offer you something that pays a lot more than this in the morning, I terribly, horribly suspect.
Well, I'll be sure to keep my eye out.
And with that, he says, thanks for the coffee. Thanks for the conversation, miss. It's nice to talk to somebody.
Oh. Part of being a bartender is also being an ear for someone. It's my pleasure.
You're damn good at your job, miss. Thank you. And he tips his hat and takes his grizzled old face out the bar. And for the rest of the night, you serve as long as you want. By about 2 hours after dark, it's starting to thin out because these people all have to get up at dawn to go to work. So it's, sort of what we would call sort of 9 or 10 o'clock by the time there's only the hardcore left in the corner. The ones that have gotten themselves exactly drunk enough not to get arrested, but too drunk to actually function. They're just sort of sitting in the corner quietly. You and the bartender have more or less cut them off at this point. You're just no longer bringing them drinks. And they're all sitting there with sort of half a beer on the table getting ready to go home.
I'll go up to Ronald and ask him if he still wants me to help him close down the bar.
No, miss, that's fine. Really, with this bunch, I basically just sweep and throw down some sawdust if anybody got sick. But we had a pretty nice night tonight. Nobody did. Thank you. You are a true professional. I appreciate that a lot. Here, and he pulls open the money box and hands you. You worked 4 hours. So he puts 8 on the counter, and then he looks at you and puts another 2 down. So hope you did well on tips tonight, miss.
Well, I greatly appreciate it. So wait,
roll me a d20. Just the blank D blank at the bottom left there. Just roll 1 d20 for me.
That sums up our rules tonight.
You made $22 in tips tonight because there's no way you made 2. Even these guys aren't that cheap. It's a buck of beer. They're not tipping nickels on dollar beers. So yeah, you made $22 in tips tonight. They liked you. People really liked you a lot. But I mean, it makes sense. You're a pro, right? You're not just somebody who didn't have the skills to do anything else. You're an actual bar employee. So yeah, you made good money tonight. And he says, anytime, miss, you come back any night, on the weekends especially.
I will definitely take you up on that.
And with that, the 3 of you make your way back to the hotel. One of you is sitting in the sheriff's office as they haul in only 2 drunks tonight. And they almost immediately pass out.
Probably still tinkering away.
And with the sheriff there, he says to you, well, I'm off, son, if you're staying here.
Yes, sir.
That person you came in with, the young lady who works at the bar, you known her long?
Not terribly long, but she seems like she's got a good head on her shoulders.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I don't want to tell you what's what, but that's the kind of person I'd take advice from if I ever needed any advice. You know what I'm saying?
I completely agree, sir.
You know how it is with folks like you and me. There is no gray areas. It's all just yes and no. Somebody like that sees the curves and shapes of things and probably a better view than some of the rest of us.
I'll keep that in mind, sir.
Sort of soften some edges, you know? You're a little sharp around the edges, son. That's what I'm saying.
Somebody's got to be.
Damn straight, I used to be too. I ain't saying change. I'm just saying be aware. Anyway, I'm off.
Good night, sir.
And is there anything anybody would like to do during the rest of the evening?
How goes my tinkering?
You rolled
I accidentally rolled a fourth one. I don't know how that happened.
That's okay. You're only going to roll the one tonight because it's going to take you the rest of tonight to try and put together this plan. With a 19, that is, you have figured out how to do it, where the hinges are going to have to go. You've got it so it basically you pull two pins, one at the bottom, one at the top, and then it just goes dunk, 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 and then the lid drops.
Perfect. Comes with the handle?
Sorry?
Does it come with the handle?
Yeah, I mean, you got a little cutout on one side, so
perfect.
It's kind of weird because where the handle is, once it pops up, that's going to be a small hole in the side, so you would actually be able to peek in and see whatever's in there. But yeah, there's a handle, or at least in your design there is. Now we'll see. What you are going to need absolutely is some hinges. You were absolutely right. You're also going to need the wood to make the coffin itself. And you're also going to need some fairly fine tools. That's going to be the challenge, is finding these tools.
Let's see. Okay, for sure.
But that takes you until it's time to go to bed. So
okay.
By the time you're done, you're working by lamplight.
Yeah.
Alice, anything you're doing before bed?
Alice is actually also going to do some tinkering.
Okay. What would you like to start the process on?
She's been thinking about it, and she's decided that one of the things she's gonna wait, but she wants to talk to them tomorrow and see if she can get just a little bit of that ghost steel for her, because she wants to try to get daguerreotype plates made out of ghost steel.
Oh.
And see what the photographic effects of that would be, because it's kind of got a color to it, right?
Sure.
And it's got, so she's thinking that the properties might lend themselves to some interesting photographs.
Yeah, this is less something that you need a diagram of than something you need to find out if it works. So what I would suggest is you take your, because you would have the materials to make a daguerreotype sheet on regular metal. So what I would suggest is you'd have to bugger off down to the railway tracks with your chemicals and see if they stick.
Yeah. Okay. Then that's what she would. That's what.
So give me your tinkering roll.
And I'm on the wrong page. That's real fun.
That's easy to do on a 7-page character sheet.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
Okay.
We have to come back.
What you figure out is that it's a 2 chemical process. You have to paint on one chemical and then paint on the second. The bottom chemical isn't sticking to the ghost steel, so you're going to have to add something to it to do that. So that's what your second role is going to be, is finding the ingredient that causes this. It's going to require some experimentation. Yeah. But you're going to have to literally sit by this train track at some point and with a bunch of different chemicals and try and see what doesn't affect the film process, but causes this material to stick. You get the idea. It shouldn't be that difficult. It shouldn't be that difficult, more difficult than regular steel. Yeah, that's kind of what she's thinking. And she's gonna not tonight, but she's gonna like get the newspaper guy. She's gonna get his input because he's got some. Absolutely, that makes really good sense. That will. But this is a goal for her, kind of long term, trying to figure out what the photographic properties of this would be if it was a daguerreotype plate. Perfect. She's trying to wonder if maybe this isn't another way to do color photographs, because color photography at this point was
and it's very like 20 years ago at
Yeah,
this point.
you would have been one of the very few people in the world that could afford color photography at this point. Right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So both of you make a note somewhere on your character sheet, probably on that last page, the miscellaneous page, that you have what you're working on and how successful that first roll was.
Okay.
So I've just made kind of the schematics basically so far, right?
Yeah, exactly. You have the plan, and Alice knows what she needs to do. So
Yes. Yep.
Jet, sitting in the sheriff's office. Anything you'd like to do? I think you're muted.
He is muted.
I already know what's gonna happen. Man, I'm just gonna futilely, I'm sure, but I'm just gonna make myself a cup of coffee on my little mess kit stove, and you know, make sure I check to make sure nobody's trying to get out or anything, and maybe try to find a drawer for that second stick of dynamite in here.
There's I mean, this is a sheriff's office. You poke around a little bit and you find in the back, it's actually there's a metal door mounted in the wall, and it's weird because it's in the center of a square of bricks. Like the rest of this building is wood, but there's like this brick outline, and there's a door, and when you pull it open, it's almost like a root cellar, but it's all above ground. And there's all these little shelves, and there's actually one box sitting in the corner with 2 sticks of dynamite sticking out of it.
Cool.
And as you look in, the walls are like that thick, like 6 layers of brick. This is essentially a bomb-proof shelter.
That's excellent. I'm gonna I'm gonna try to find something in the office, like a pen or whatever they would use, the equivalent, and just write Jet on my stick and stick it in that box.
Jet's boomstick.
Yep, and I'm just
You
gonna
guys can all read, right?
put that in there, and maybe I'll take the rest of the time to just wrap the other stick that I have in my extra clothes in my pack, so that it don't blow me up.
Yeah. And are you, once you've got that done, it's dark, the crickets are sounding, the drunks are passed out, the cot's in the corner, you've got half a pot of coffee left. You want to try and stay up all night?
It's one of those things where it's more like I'm trying to get myself to the point where I have no choice. Like, I know I have to sleep. I know that's important, but I'm going to stay up until it's just like not even a choice anymore. So I'm just sitting on the edge of the cot with my head kind of on my hand, until I just doze off.
Give me either a vigor or a spirit check.
Oh, well, you know what it's going to be then.
I don't. Like I said, I don't look at your character sheets. I don't want to know. I can't metagame if I don't know. I can't make things specifically designed to crush you if I don't know what you are.
There we go.
Fine. Okay, that's not bad. You make it till after midnight, which is late in a place like this. I mean, here people go to bed at like 9:30, 10 o'clock and get up at 6 with the sun. So you're well after midnight, probably 1 o'clock in the morning before you finally feel yourself. If you don't go lay down now, you're going to head plant off this chair onto the floor. So you stumble over to the bed, and with great dread, you lay down because you're so exhausted. It's almost immediate, just gone. And you're just gone, just deep, just falling. It's restful because it's just black everywhere. It's almost peaceful, almost. And then there's that weird instantaneous cutscenes that happens in dreams, and you're back in Prescott, and you're the sheriff, not Thomas. You look down, there's the badge, sheriff, not deputy. You're older. You're in your 40s. Little belly, little less hair, not quite as handsome, little more, lots of smile lines, but lots of not smile lines too. You can kind of feel the roughness of your face. You haven't shaved in a couple days, which is weird. And then knowledge, things start to leak in. Things you don't want to know. You're not just the sheriff in this town. You are a dirty, no good son of a bitch sheriff in this town. You take bribes. You run a protection racket. You run a whorehouse. But what are the citizens gonna do? You're the damn sheriff. You see the fear in their eyes as you walk down the street. And in the dream, you love it. That's not me. It's like 5:15 in the morning. The sun is just creeping the horizon. At least today, you won't have to sit here for 3 hours and wait for the sun to come up.
I totally forgot again. I should roll a spirit check
Mhm.
for that. So yeah, I'll do that. So much fun. I don't remember what it. I think it's 7, so I think I lost.
This was for
This was for the night terrors.
right. Okay, yeah.
So yeah, so I didn't. So I have to lose one of my fate chips
Right. Yeah.
from exhaustion. There we go. So yeah, I'll toss that out.
Yep. And I believe it's your choice, right? So
I believe so. I'll read
Roll.
and make sure.
yeah. So you wake up and it's like, you know that's not you. That's no way that's you. But that thought is still there. Those memories are still there. Your hand, you kind of find your hand on your face, and no, you're young again. Your hair's back. There is those holes in your hat though. That for real happened.
That was weird.
And you wake up the next morning, and when you wake up, just because I'm looking at Zoom at the moment, Lucius is nowhere to be found. His room is empty. He's gone. There's spilled ink on the table and a pen and nib. But you discover this after the rest of you come down. Well, I mean, pen comes across from the sheriff's office once the sheriff arrives, and you guys go down for breakfast, and Lucius doesn't show up. Somebody goes upstairs and knocks on his door, opens the door, he's gone. All of his gear.
Marshall Kevin,
Mm.
whose pen?
Damn it. I was hoping that slipped through. I told you I'm not having a prime night.
Oh man.
Oh,
I could have been a pen in another life, you know. Where?
he was here for a second. Oh, there he is.
Lucius, where'd he
Back.
go?
Is
There he
it the
is.
graveyard hour?
Yeah, he is missing. Yeah. Lucius, you said you wanted to go to the graveyard, and you kind of dropped out of the chat for a second, so
Well-
you're on the way to the graveyard first thing in the morning.
It is the graveyard hour, so that
Yeah.
will make sense.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we'll start with the other three. You wake up, you come down to breakfast. Lucius is gone.
I don't suppose the Undertaker would have slept in, do you think?
I don't rightly know, man.
How far did? Oh Lord.
And Jet looks exhausted. I mean, even worse than usual. He's always got bags under his eyes, but they're like Gucci, and they're down to here. They got famous initials on them. Yves Saint Laurent bags now.
Jet, are you all right?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Rough night?
Like, yeah, you know, there's a gentleman in the cell, and you know.
I watched them get tossed out. I didn't think they would trouble sort, but then again, you never know what a man will do when he has too much in liquor down his throat.
Yeah, you know, they yeah.
She's seen the nightmares and what he does. She's
Yeah,
like,
you know what's going on.
she's like, no, this is not.
Yeah. I've still got my cup of coffee. I carried it over.
Yeah, little tin cup.
Well, this might pique your
Dark sort of
interest.
turquoise with white dots on it. It those little metal camping cups. I don't know if anybody ever had one of those.
Oh yeah.
This may pique your interest, Jed, and Miss Alice. I think this could be a good story you'd be wanting to chase. Apparently, our dear sheriff thinks there's a cult in town.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. A cult? I mean, yeah, that yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
Jed, are you fully awake?
It's early. It's so early. Justice needs I'm so-
Well, there's our quote for the week. Justice needs.
Oh my gosh, Jet, are you okay?
I'm fine. It's fine. I'm fine. You're fine. We're all fine.
Well, Lucius might not be fine.
Oh yeah, we should.
We found a body yesterday and now he's gone. I feel like we should probably try to figure out where he is.
All right, and I push my chair back and stand up a little bit, and I just kind of like, and I'm just like, and I kind of make my way up to his room and push the door open.
He's gone. Would you have left a note? Probably. Eh? You're a pretty responsible person.
Yes.
Would it have been
Probably on the
on-
lines. Dear friends, I'm off on a little business trip to the graveyard to see if I can get some work in. Do not worry, I'll be back soon.
I hold the note and I look it over, and I'm like, oh, I can't read. No, I'm kidding. I go back downstairs.
Oh my god.
Somebody tell me what Wiggles mean.
I go back downstairs and I let him know. I'm like, he went to the graveyard, so I don't know. We can go or we can stay. I don't know. I'm sure he'll be back, but I don't know. That seems like a place he'd go. That sounds about right.
I'm very concerned about you right now,
Yeah.
Jet.
I'm not sure if you should be going anywhere except for bed.
I don't think you should go there either, I'll be honest.
And at this point, the sheriff walks into the breakfast, into the place where you guys are eating breakfast. The sheriff walks in and says, "Oh, I told you I have bad news for you today.
Mm-hmm.
What
I
happened?
got 3 missing minors.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean under 18s. I mean big badass men, all gone."
Mm-hmm.
What were they doing before they went missing? Jet's very tired. What were they doing before they went missing?
That's weird. That bed's pretty comfortable. I don't know why I can't sleep. They were placer mining for gold. They're not fools. They're not after ghost rock. They're down in the river, north of the lake, and right along the side of the river. There's a whole bunch of them panning for gold. And a couple of them was coming into town this morning, and they said they walked past. They stopped to see if the other fellows needed anything, and all they found was bloodstains.
No bodies.
No bodies. Not a bone. Not a nothing. Just big old bloodstains is what they told me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if Jet wakes up, perhaps we can go
Hmm.
around the area, see if we can find anything.
No,
Good, because I gotta stay in town.
I got just of it is people and they're dead and blood.
Son, you had a coffee yet this morning?
I've had so much coffee, sir, and then I compose myself. I'm just like, please tell me you got like something a little stronger than coffee. I'm not talking like, just
I hope you ain't asking for drugs, son.
No, I would
This'll work.
never.
He reaches over and pulls the curtains just wide open.
Yeah, that did it. Woo!
Sunny light right in the face, just like I'll steal the comedian's voice, the comedian's line. He said, "After drinking tequila and you walk out and the sun's coming up, it's like God's flashlight staring you right in the face."
Ah. All right, let's do it.
Alice says, "Well, seems like he's back."
The three of you
Halfway
finish
back.
breakfast and head outside to, I'm assuming, try and go and find Lucius first.
Probably.
Yeah.
So meanwhile, Lucius, I just split the party every which way tonight. This is great fun.
I'm
Lucius.
probably on my horse and wagon with or at least horse.
Yeah, and you get it's like I said, it's about a mile to the cemetery south of town, and it's very quiet and peaceful as you're driving along. It's early morning, so the sun isn't even like down on the road yet because there's trees on both sides of the road, so you're still more or less in the shade as you're driving along. It's quite cool, even though you know it's going to get hot. This is what the desert does, right? It's cold at night and hot during the day, and as that heat's starting to rise, as that sun's starting to come up, you come to this. It's like a gate, but it's made out of trees, like juniper bushes. There's two very tall, like 25 to 30 foot tall juniper bushes. And then beside those are one on each side of the road. And beside those going both ways is rows, a row on each side, like a hedge that's about 15 feet tall. It's all of juniper bushes. And I don't know if any of you have ever smelled juniper bushes. It's a very strong smell. It smells a little bit like cat pee, but it's very strong ammonia smell. And that's what you smell as you approach. As you continue in, you step inside the cemetery. Your horse rides into the cemetery, and you hear a voice say, "Don't ride in here. Show some damn respect."
Apologies.
You get off your horse.
Yes, I do. By the way, my horse's name is Dusk.
Excellent. And you hear the voice again. In front of you, the basic outlay of this cemetery is a big square road. In the middle, there's 5 or 6 mausoleums, quite large, ornate structures, all different kinds of marble and granite and all these sorts of things. And then around the outside in a ring is clearly where everybody else gets buried. Just regular stones, very simple headstones, all in a row. And there's a lot of them. There's got to be, not including the mausoleums, there's got to be 70 graves here. And none of them have been here long enough for any moss to be growing on the stones.
And I'm from California. I probably find this pretty impressive.
Yeah, this is a far too big a cemetery for a town that's been here for 20 years. And out from behind one of the mausoleums, a fellow in a little derby hat, and a shovel over his shoulder. He's wearing a vest over a white shirt, but the vest is unbuttoned, and he's wearing work pants and heavy boots. And he steps around the corner and says, "Can I help you, fancy pants?"
Good evening. My name is Lucius Glory. I'm actually looking for work. I'm an undertaker myself.
"You want my job?"
I thought merely to assist or help out.
He looks you up and down in your finery and says, "You dig graves?"
I do indeed. Family business back in California.
"Why'd you leave? They stopped dying?"
On the contrary, there's always work. I just needed a change of pace, let's say.
You needed a change of pace, so you come somewhere else to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, as you can see, and he points to behind him, I'm kind of ahead of the game. And there's half a dozen empty graves right at the end, right in one corner of the cemetery.
Nice. Planning ahead? Makes
Yeah,
sense.
it won't be long. This damn space is almost filled up. We're gonna have to fall some more trees.
Let's see. How long on average does it take you to dig?
I could put a hole down in 3 or 4 hours.
Mm-hmm. That's about right. Well, I have and do you need any help making coffins, tombstone chiseling?
Let me make this real clear. Right?
Mm-hmm.
We're both men of the trade.
Absolutely.
Yeah, piss off. Get off my patch.
I see. Well, how very rude. Do a scrutinize check.
It's one undertaker, son, and I've been doing it a long time.
As long as the town has been open?
Not that long. About the last 12 years.
So about half. I'm sure you've seen a few things.
Yep. Some of these folks ain't all in one piece in their box, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, for
Claw
sure.
marks, teeth marks.
Yes, I've been very curious about that. I've been seeing a lot of that actually lately, with the bodies I've seen every now and then.
Ripped right apart, some of them. Like a huge animal done it.
Very curious. It's not a wolf, I don't think.
No. Something much bigger and nastier than that. Bear, maybe?
Maybe a bear, but
Grizzly, maybe?
the claw marks don't quite match with it, or the bite marks, for that matter.
How the hell would you know? I just told you about them.
I've seen a couple claw marks already, and teeth marks as well.
I think we're talking about different things, mister.
Perhaps. Well, I'm sorry I have disturbed you. I was just simply looking for work. But if you do need my help, you know where to find me. I do try to be quite efficient.
Uh-huh.
Perhaps I'll come for you.
Everything, mister.
Yes, well, perhaps I'll come to you on different matters. Perhaps not in this kind of business, but other things here and there.
Sutures?
What was your name?
Jeb.
Jeb. Well, thank
Jeb
you.
Early.
Jeb Early?
He definitely does not reach out a hand to shake your hand. He's just holding his shovel.
I see. Well, you have yourself a very good day.
Is that some kind of sick joke?
Manners maketh the man. And I would just simply walk away and get on my horse.
Yeah, you get the distinct impression that Jeb is an asshole. So yeah, you get back on your horse and head back into town?
Yeah, I understand. In my head, I understand. It's a shitty job. But at the same time, manners, yeah, are a big thing.
Yeah,
And I don't.
he would agree with you on the first half of that statement. So just to sort of narratively move this along, you get back into town just as these guys are coming out from breakfast. The sheriff informs you that he has asked you to go and check out these miners. He offers you, he says, I can't pay you as much as, like mercenaries or nothing, but I can give you each $20 to go check it out. Don't do nothing stupid. I mean, it's only $20. Just go tell me if these miners is telling the truth.
Of course, sounds fair.
Yeah, it's about just up the north end of the lake, just past the old church.
Sure, Sheriff. Anything you need.
And where he means is it's just sort of right there in that little clearing. So it's not that far out of town at all. If you guys saw that on the new map,
Would we
just
be
up
able
to the valley? Yeah,
to take horses there?
absolutely. You can ride right up the side of the creek. There is a semi-permanent trail because there's along this river, there's at least 10 or 12 little mining camps, sort of lean-to shacks and a quick sluice box built on the side of the river. And as you're led to understand, this is one of those that you're looking for.
All right. I'm going to go get my horse.
Yeah.
Because I haven't gotten to see my horse yet.
So yeah, this is kind of strange. Let's introduce our horses because some of them are quite unique. Dusk, we'll start with Dusk just because we already know the name. What does Dusk look like?
As I said the last time, he's a pale-looking horse, almost ghastly looking, but completely healthy. It's just the color. So,
Yep. Death rides a pale horse. Gotcha.
On the nose.
And let's just go around the group. He was grinning, so let's start with Jet. You seemed very happy about going to get your horse. So tell us about your horse.
My horse is dark as night all the way through, just like a black stallion. And her name is Betty.
Jet
Okay,
and
well,
Betty.
not a stallion if it's a her.
Not a stallion. I'm sorry. It's like that, you know.
No, wait a minute. I guess
strong-
it's possible. Don't let me define your horse's sexuality. How does your horse?
I don't
self-
know anything about horses.
Stallion is a male horse that
God.
still has its testicles.
Well,
Yeah.
then just a strong, independent female horse.
So that would be a mare.
A mare,
So
yes.
there you go. And her name is Betty. So, you know.
Black Betty. Bam a lamb.
Yep.
Bam a lamb. 2 for 2. I got them 2 figured out of why they're named what they're named. Alice. I know we've heard this horse already, but I want to hear it described again.
Yeah. So Fancy is also a mare. She is a gorgeous golden Palomino standard bred horse. So she's not. These other horses are probably like quarter horses. You know, they're made for. Yep, they're made for trails. It's not a smooth ride. You're trotting all the time. Alice is not about that. Alice's horse is a standard bred. This horse has a very smooth gait, but they are a little crazy.
Yeah, but not full blown Arabian, all frail and easy to break, right?
No, they're standard breds are they're much spunkier and feistier than quarter horses, but they're faster.
Yeah,
when they need to be,
and like you
and
said,
it's a smoother ride. But they're a little harder to control. But this one, it's well trained, obviously, because
of course.
Alice.
So we've got a gray horse, a black horse, a golden Palomino, and
My horse is also black. His name is Onyx.
Oh, my horse's name is Fancy, also.
Fancy. Yeah. So 2 black horses, 1 gray, 1 goldish. I love it. That's yeah. You guys stand out a lot. That's good.
Matches our personalities, I think.
You guys hop on your horses and head out of town along this riverbank. Give me a marching order, first of all. What order are we in?
I can only assume I'd take up the leads.
Yeah, probably.
I'm the guns and actually I specifically switch out my badges since this is official business and I'm putting on my marshal badge.
Yep.
I'll go right behind you.
All right.
I'll be in the caboose, just kind of keeping an eye on behind us.
Okay. So there.
Alice will just kind of fall in line there in the third spot.
All right. 2, 3, 4, and the camera. Put there. All right. So you guys make your way along the riverbank, and after sort of an hour or so, so it's still only just like an hour after breakfast, so maybe 8 o'clock in the morning. The sun's just coming over the mountain that the insane railway tracks climb up, and it's just starting to glint off the lake behind you, and you feel that first little bit of what's going to be just another hot, steaming western borderline desert area. Even though there's a lot of trees around here, it's all pine and scrub pine. This place doesn't get a lot of rain. And you guys make your way along until in the distance you can see this. You pass 2 miners' camps that have miners in them that are already up and working. And they just kind of nod at you unless you stop to talk to them. They're up to their knees in the water, shoveling gravel into big sluice boxes. And then the other guy's shaking the box, trying to get all the, shaking all the stuff off to leave the gold.
Mm-hmm.
You keep going. As you work your way past them, you get to the third one. And this is clearly the one that they were talking about, because as soon as you come out into the clearing, you can see this is the sluice box over by the river. This is where and normally this is where you would do it, right behind rocks, because that's where the gold would settle. And they're shoveling from there into those big boxes, and those are shaker boxes. And there would normally be somebody shaking there. The gold would fall through, everything else gets rinsed off down that ramp and back into the creek. You can see, even as you enter this space, there is a huge bloodstain on the side of the creek, part of which has been washed away by the water. There's a cabin in the middle, no windows, just one it's not even a door. It's just like a piece of wood that they had leaned against the wall, and it's just sort of propped open.
Mm-hmm.
How many are here currently?
People?
Yeah,
None.
are there any people here? None.
This is where they were killed. This is the camp where they were killed. So there's a huge bloodstain over here, and no sense of movement or anything in the rest of this clearing. So you assume this must be the one where the attacks were.
I actually can't see the map.
Oh yeah, we got 2 jets.
Whoa.
Did I do that? Okay.
Twice the justice.
Nobody needs that much justice. There we go. Sorry, Lucius.
No problem.
There you go. So now you're on the map. So yeah, this is this little building, just sort of a ramshackle lean-to.
Would we be able to tie our horses off on these stumps, or is that not something?
Yeah, you can see what they've done here is cleared some of this territory to make space for this little building and to give them a little bit of room by the edge of the creek, just sort of expanded this natural clearing. But yeah, absolutely. There's all kinds of places, branches and whatnot to tie off the horses.
Yeah, I'm going to do that right here. Hop on off of mine.
Yep.
So you guys, this is what you see.
I guess we're checking it out.
Who's looking for what and where?
Okay. Also, I'm having some problems because
so you said that it's just a little small lean-to, like the door.
Yeah, I mean it's basically rectangular. It's just sort of sheets of wood, sort of leaning. There's some nails here and there, but it's clearly a very temporary building. Somebody was set up here. Same with, you look at even from a distance, you can see the sluice boxes. They're designed to be portable. So this is a group that's just moving up or down the river, trying to find good spots to find gold.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Alice is kind of leaning towards going in. She's gonna kind of walk up to the door of the.
And as soon as you get to where you are now, where you were there, just put you back really.
Oh.
There, you can see past this propped open piece of wood that was acting as their door. There's another big blood stain on the floor inside. There's a dirty old cot in the corner. The sheets have never been changed, and it's just a bunch of hay stuffed in a bag and sticking through, and only dirty men would sleep in a place like this.
Alice says, it looks like you said I saw more blood, right?
Oh yeah, you actually, yeah, there's so much in that building you can smell it.
Yeah, Alice says, there looks to be more blood inside also.
More than outside?
From what you can see where you are, it looks like the same thing with the stain outside for Jet and the others that are looking outside. It looks like, for all the world, like almost all the blood in a person. There's quarts of it all over the floor for my American friends. The stains are huge and they're thick, and they're only slightly dry. They're only tacky to the touch. Whatever happened, it happened last night.
Yeah. Alice will convey that, and she'll say, "Yeah, there's a lot of blood in here too,
And then as you step forward and look,
and fairly fresh blood."
and again outside, you guys can see this big blood stain here as well.
Are there any animal tracks around here? I doubt it was an animal, but might as well look.
Searching or tracking, your choice.
Oh, great. I'm so good at both of those.
I'm very clearly thinking to myself.
Ah, see, look at my skill.
Oh my lord!
I found my footprints.
Yeah.
Look!
They were killed by something real. Oh,
Right
wait,
where
that's
I
not.
am.
There's been horses around this area, I swear.
Oh.
Anybody else? Alice, give me a scrutinizing for looking inside.
Oh,
You don't have to
dope.
go in. You just sort of walk over to the door and look.
Yeah, I kind of want to walk. Yeah, like right there. I would love to give you a scrutinize check if I could. There we go. The 9.
You see it, and there's, like I said, there's these two, you can see in the image now, there's two huge pools of blood in here. One, I'll move you, I'll just step you to there so you can actually see it.
Yeah.
One, there's 4 beds. There was 4 beds in this place. There still are. They are, again, these are just nasty. Like you wouldn't put the help in these beds. These are terrible. There's absolutely going to be fleas and who knows what else in there. In fact, you hear and a rat comes out of one of them and runs across the floor and out through a crack in the wall.
Everybody else will hear Alice scream.
I'll run over.
Somebody's killing Alice.
She won't move, but she'll just kind of, pick her feet up like, ah!
Yep.
What is it?
There was a rat.
Oh.
And once you get control of yourself again and sort of look around, you see the 2 huge bloodstains, 4 awful beds. There's 2 shelves, like one at each end of the room, that are just got some like chipped cutlery and 1 fork and 1 spoon, and there's a coffee cup sitting on the table. It's got 1.5 inches of green fungus in the bottom of it. This is even the fireplace that's sitting there is. They didn't clean it, so there's a pile of ashes in the bottom, and then there's a couple logs on top that sort of burnt out in the process. The fire wasn't maintained last night. You can tell that. Outside, anybody who's still outside, go ahead and make a searching or tracking for me.
Okay.
Let's see. Mm-hmm.
Jet's so tired.
I'm so
Yeah, that makes
tired.
sense. And Lucius is just not paying attention. Okay.
Now we're gonna die.
Well, when I heard Alice scream, I pulled my gun out of its holster, so I'm holding it right now.
Yeah.
I've
So you
had
sort of.
something in my hand. I was trying to determine if it was shotgun or dynamite up until this point.
Alice, you also notice again once you your heart slows down a little bit and you realize, first of all, you have kind of an interesting moment because you squealed, and these 3 people that you met 2 days ago just came charging to your rescue, like no questions asked, just boom, boom, boom. They're standing there, guns out, ready to cover you. These poor people, these low-class people. You kind of only have a second to think about it, though, because you look down and there's a wolf print in the blood. Just 1 forepaw. But, wolf prints sort of that size. This one's like that.
Let's see, who's she
Right
gonna
in
call?
the blood.
I'm trying to decide who she would. She's Ellie.
Yeah.
And then she'll
I'll
say,
come over.
look, that is definitely not normal. This poison is ruining everything in this town.
I'm gonna look around. Are there any other footprints? Is there like a trail or anything?
Give me another search check.
Oh, good.
or scrutinize, whichever one you like.
Ooh, scrutinize.
You're inside
Slightly
now,
better.
so this is more like looking for evidence rather than tracking something.
Well, not much better.
You see where that foot landed again, just inside the door where this thing was walking out, which means its stride was way bigger than a normal wolf. And then you step outside and look, and there's one more, just a little, like the blood's almost worn off by the time it took that third step. But just over here by the corner of the building, there's just the slight outline, more like crushed grass than even just a tiny bit of blood in it. But you surmise that that must be that foot again. And
I'll let the others know that it seems like it went this way.
And the three of you come outside to that corner. And just as you get there, you hear in the forest above you, because the hill climbs up from here, the mountain climbs up behind you, and you hear a wolf howl. But it's not that beautiful, clear, whoo. It's rough and raunchy and far too loud. It's more. And then from the other side of the valley, there's the answer, another one just like it.
Hmm.
And that's
Has
where we'll
anyone
end
ever
tonight.
heard a wolf like
Oh.
that?
We'll end on that. That's even better. Has anybody ever heard a wolf like that? That's where we'll drop the scene.
I know I sure ain't never heard a wolf like that, but I ain't never heard lots of things going on around here. Boy, this sure is getting weird. I guess I'll just stick in. You should too. Make sure to give us that follow if you ain't done so yet. But Marshall Kevin, take us out.
I keep forgetting people are watching us do this. That's how into this I'm getting. Thank you again to all my players. Holy cow, that was not the smoothest night we've ever had, and I will take 100% of the blame for that. That's on me. So thank you again to my spectacular players who would have had a great night. Jet, right beside me, played by Noctum Sky. Next, Ellie, played by, I almost got the bloody names wrong. Holy crap. Ellie, played by Hannah. The far end, Lesimax, who plays Lucius for us. And below us, only in here, because she's convinced she should be in a row above us, all by herself, fine and wonderful Alice O'Hare. Thank you to our producers. Thank you to everybody that watched tonight. Thank you to all my players. We will see you next week. You know what? Two things. Jet has to sleep every night, and I love these nightmares. And other than that, I'll shoot you next week. Bye.
There ain't no beer that brings such cheer is made by an alehouse dwarf. RPG diddly-dee and day, don't fumble as you tumble or you'll barf. RPG diddly-dee and day, we'll sing this song all night. If dem my human drinking's wrong, I don't wanna be